Alright, quick update on SmoothLovePotion, ticker symbol SLP. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about in this video, namely covering the big bounce that we've had in the past 24 hours. As you can see, most of the bounce has been taken out already. We actually moved up almost 13%, and we're currently sitting just below 5%. So what was this bounce? Have we seen this before, and has the market structure changed? That's what we'll be jumping into now. I'm going to start off on my relatively blank chart where we can talk about the technicals and the market structure before heading over to the oscillators and, most importantly, the risk metric. So let's jump right into this. Now, I want to start off on the higher time frames using the Heikanashis, and for this we're just going to quickly clear up the chart a bit, because you can see, yes, SLP has had an okay bounce, but let's head over to the weekly time frame. Let's head over to the Heikanashi candles to smoothen out the trend, and you will notice that we are still in this massive downtrend. In fact, we've been here for 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 weeks worth of a move to the downside, and it's the exact same over on Bitcoin on the Heikanashii candles and the total crypto market cap on the Heikanashii candles. So we have witnessed this time after time again on SLP. If we back up the chart, head over to the weekly time frame, you will notice that yes, we do have these massive wicks to the upside, massive wicks, massive runs up. But if you do look at where these wicks top out, you've got a high, you've got a lower high, double top over here, lower high, lower high, lower high, and another lower high. So every single time we run up for these moves to the upside, it literally is just a short-lived fake out. Bear in mind, the market cap of SLP is relatively cheap compared to a lot of other altcoins, so this is very easy to move back up to the upside, but the momentum has not changed. People forget this has a pretty low market cap, and subsequently is very easy to experience these massive volatile swings. Now, the market structure has basically been, if I move this back over, breakdown, bearish pennant into the daily EMA ribbons, breakdown, bearish pennant, lollygag sideways into the daily EMA ribbons, and every single time we come into the daily EMAs here, and here, every single time we break down to lower price targets. But most importantly, once you come into this daily EMA, this is when you get slapped down. Daily EMA, slap down, daily EMA, slap down, and every single time it's hard to see, but if you do look at where we topped out here, you can very clearly see that until we move up to 4.5 cent or higher, we will still be in this lower high formation. So about a week ago or so, this was actually the 23rd of June, so coming on, this must have been 2 weeks ago now, we were calling for this 72% move to the downside, and it was playing out pretty well. We started to move down. We actually moved down about 13.3%, but we actually poked our head above the top of when we originally made this prediction, and now we're getting pushed back down. So bear in mind, since we made this prediction, we are still down about 4%. I really do just think we are solidifying another lower high in the daily EMA ribbons. Almost every time we come up to, it's not the 21 EMA, we've come up to the next one, the 25 EMA, which is the second shortest short-term moving average over on the daily EMA ribbons. We come into this breakdown, and subsequently I think we're gearing up for that next move back down. Now, is it impossible to move up over the next couple of hours? Absolutely not. Actually, within the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to have we're going to have the results from the FOMC minute meeting, not the typical official FOMC meeting we have every 6 to 8 weeks. However, this is the FOMC minutes meeting that happens approximately 2 to 3 weeks before the FOMC meetings. And I would just like to highlight the last couple of FOMC meetings. We break down into them, pump on the day of them, break down afterwards. Break down into them, pump on the day of the FOMC meeting, break down afterwards. So is it possible that today we can move a tiny bit more up to the upside before heading back down? It is absolutely possible. If you do want to follow me over on Twitter and witness me sharing these charts, sharing memes, etc., then be sure to head over to my Twitter at 618_cowboy. Everything I do is highlighted over here. If you do want a quick and easy link to this, you will find it in the description of this video, all of my videos, and also attached to my YouTube channel. So we've talked about the market structure. Not too much has changed since my last video. We're still making lower lows, or we're making lower highs. We haven't quite solidified that lower low yet, and we will be doing that once we break back down below 3 cent, and I think that's very much in play within the next week. Now, looking at the momentum indicators, if we look at the squeeze bomb down here, basically the last time we had a round off. So we came into the daily EMA ribbons right here, we rounded down and had a breakdown, and this correlates to a absolutely flat period of growth on the squeeze momentum indicator where bulls tried to snatch the trend back from this low. You came up, rounded top, breakdown. You had absolutely no momentum backing up this trend, and subsequently what are we doing now? The bulls have absolutely got no steam in their baskets, and once again this looks like another rounding top, except this has just got a dink in the top of the head of it. Nonetheless, this is still a rounding top formation. We are starting to head down, and even if we do head up for the next 24 hours, I would very much like to advise you, unless Bitcoin has a massive break above our 618 fib, in the short term, breaking us above this bearish pendant, which is also an asymmetrical triangle if we're just looking at it in this screen. If we break up, backtest this and go off to the moon, so be it. I don't necessarily think that's what's going to happen, but after the FOMC results, we can do something like this or this before heading back down, and this can correlate to probably another crazy move for SLP in the short term. However, as I've been saying with all my altcoin videos today, I do not think the odds are in your favor. They might be in your favor for the next 24 hours, but coming into tomorrow's opening, it's probably going to get slapped back down. Look at the general markets. The dollar is on a massive rampage right now. The stock market's breaking down. These are all bearish signals for Bitcoin, and subsequently, what's SLP going to do? It's going to do exactly what Bitcoin is doing. So be super cautious if you're getting a little bit euphoric on this. We can actually move this over and talk about this being the new sheriff in town, because we do have this bear flag breakdown from here down here. This is the bear flag, and even if we do get bullish, you could potentially see a move back up 4.5 cent and then a move back down, and then this would be your A, B, C breakdown. That is what I think is going to be coming into fruition. Would I be betting on this move back up to the upside in the short term over the next 24 hours? Absolutely not. What I am betting for over the next couple of weeks is for us to break down from this market structure, take out the low at 3 cent, head down to my first bearish prediction, which I've actually had since down here. Once we broke out of the downside round about 5.25 cent, I was calling for a 57% move, and even after this big move to the upside, we're still down 25% since my update that I did about 2 episodes ago, round about here. And, you know, once again, since the previous episode we did a couple of weeks ago, we're still down from that. I still think we're making lower lows, lower highs. Nothing has changed in that respect. So let's talk about the risk before we do look at the oscillators. Now, over on the 4 hour for the risk metric, as this pump literally kind of came out of the past 4 hours, this is basically already a blow off top in my opinion, but nonetheless, you can see the risk metric has head up to 57%. It tops out at 1, and this is headed up super fast. So I do think that we're probably getting ready for a breakdown. As you can see, the risk is going down over time, because obviously we are just getting beat down. And if we do look at lower time frames like the daily, you can see that we are probably getting very close to where crypto.com is likely to bottom over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of months or so. However, in the short term, I definitely do not think we're safe. If we look at the RSI is exceptionally weak right now. If we head over to the squeeze bomb, we already talked about the squeeze bomb actually on the daily time frame. This is completely flat and stagnant. If we look at the MFI basically went from 0 to 100 real quick. We went from basically 16 all the way up to 69, so basically 16 to 70 from the 18th of June up to the 2nd of July. In a couple of weeks time, money has absolutely flown like crazy into this market, and subsequently I think, you know, once again zooming out, macro high, lower high, this was actually a double top formation, and then, you know, we've taken out this one, but this structure is still a lower high from all the way down here. So the trend is still your friend until the end. The trend is pointing for a move back down to the downside. The MACD looks like it wants to start crossing bearish in the next couple of days. Once again, the growth on this is very flat. If we do zoom out again, I'm not even going to go up that high. I think you can very much tell that this was a higher high than here. So you've got a massive high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and once again, MACD looks like you want to break back down to the downside. Lower time frames for all of these. The squeeze one managed to cross bullish on the 4 hourly time frame within the past 4 to 8 hours. Also, the money flow, this is basically already topped off. We've already come up to overbought rather, and basically every time we come up to this region, sure, you can push up another couple of percent, but if you are buying right now, you are basically buying at probably the worst time. You're going to end up being someone else's exit liquidity in the next 24 hours or so. Once again, lower time frames, you can already see the squeeze bomb is completely stagnant. This is really lollygagging at the heart line right now. Once again, I think we already talked about MACD. MACD was heading up very strongly, but we are very overbought on pretty much every metric you can possibly imagine. Let's check out the RSI. RSI headed up way too fast. We're almost at overbought for this, and we already talked about the risk metrics. The risk is very, very high if you are entering this trade at this moment in time. So it looks like it's hitting the hour in which the FOMC results are going to be coming out. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm going to go check them out. I'll see if they've been uploaded or not. If not, I'll record another video and then go check them out. But by the time I've uploaded this, when you're watching this, we're going to have a decision to make. Are we going to pump based on the news from the FOMC minute meeting? If we are, it's very, very likely that we're not going to head up much higher than 4.5 cent. If we do come up to some of these higher price targets, you can imagine we're probably going to get ready to get slapped down in the next 48 hours. If we do not pump today, it's just going to solidify the weakness in the market. So whether we pump today, whether we dump today, I'm fairly confident that coming into tomorrow, coming into the opening of the stock market, and if we do see the dollar once again continue to push to the upside like it's been doing for the past couple of months, and you know, once again, when in doubt, zoom out, head over to the weekly time frame, and you can see that while yes, we are in a daily cup and handle pattern, we're actually in a macro cup and handle pattern on the weekly time frame. So I would really not bet against the dollar right now. I would not bet on altcoins. I do think we're getting ready for one last flush to the downside. Where do I think we're going to bottom? Well, my short-term price target, I can definitely see a bounce after we come down to this 1.618 fib at oh no, I was about to say 2.4 cent, but it's 0.00224. And, you know, sure, we could come down, bounce. I don't think we're going to bounce that high. I was just drawing it as a line of best fit. But something like this is what I see planning out for Crypto.com. I see us breaking to the downside in the next 48 hours. I see us heading down to 2.25, having a bounce, and then heading down to my bear market low prediction, which from where we are now is another 70% flush out to the downside. This would mean the SLP is coming down to 0.00117 before I think a bottom is going to come into place. And once again, we've got a long way to move down to the downside. I would really not be betting against the dollar, betting against the stock market. Everything seems clear cut. It looks like we're solidifying that lower high. We do the same fractal every single time. We break down, we lollygag, we either break down, it plays out every time. Break down, bear flag, rejection from the daily EMAs, break down, this looks like another bear flag, or a bearish pennant, depending on how you want to draw it. Lollygag for a bit, didn't even make it into the daily EMAs. Breakdown, bearish pennant, rejection from the daily EMAs, breakdown, bear flag, rejection from the daily EMAs, breakdown. I mean, it's been playing out time after time again. So if you are entering along right now, if you are buying spot, you are basically looking at a shotgun, putting that to the barrel, putting that barrel to your face and pulling the trigger because it's staring you down the face. I do not think now's the time to be bullish. That's just my opinion. And as always, my friends, that's all I've got for you today. Cowboy out. Peace.